Hey people, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And
this
this
is
is
season 4 of Better Let Me Tell You.
I think she's cute.
She is very cute.
She's cute, and I have to tell you, que ella, when they did Grease Live some years back,
No, she's fantastic.
Se la comió.
Yeah. I saw her on Broadway, actually,
Yeah.
in Gigi. And I think I saw her like closing weekend.
I don't know what Gigi is.
It's a very
Is
old...
that supermodel that Angelina Jolie?
No, I don't think... No, that's Gia.
Gia?
That's Gia. Yeah, no, Gigi is it's an old musical, and then they did a revival with her, and again, on stage, you cannot hide if you cannot sing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't think the problem with her was ever anybody thinking she couldn't
but
sing.
you know, sometimes people are like, because
Okay, well, let's do our intro.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Well,
yeah.
Yes.
We just started a Vanessa Hudgens podcast. Yeah.
Welcome to episode 170, everyone. ¿Cómo está todo el mundo? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Pero Friday. How is everybody? Episode 170.
We just keep getting closer to 200.
200. And man, we're going to have our 200th party. So wait.
If I have to rent hazmat suits.
70 weeks ago, we didn't have our 100th party because of COVID. COVID has been going on. No, for more than 70
More than
weeks.
70 because we took a hiatus.
Because we take the hiatus at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So it's like 75 weeks. 75 weeks of COVID.
Yep.
Okay, let's go back to Vanessa Hudgens.
That's crazy. I know. Can we talk yeah.
I think we've said everything there is to say about COVID.
I don't think there's anything
left. And I'm sure
left.
there's a lot more we're going to say since this shit's not going away anytime soon.
Unfortunately, we're just going to kind of have to grin and bear
Delta Airlines variant.
Ahorita viene Pan Am. Después de Eastern.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if they start naming all these variants after airlines?
They're like, screw the Greek alphabet.
The Value Jet. No.
I do not want to get the Frontier.
Oh no. Oh my God, the Spirit. The Spirit. The Spirit is so... Did I ever tell you what I did when we came back from Vegas last year?
Well, yes, you told me about your ordeal. I don't know if you said it on the show, but I know about your ordeal.
So coming back...
Well, it was 2 years ago.
Okay, so yes, for your birthday. So on the way over there, I think we flew American, I think.
Yeah.
No, JetBlue.
Something happened that
JetBlue.
you had made your reservations.
I forgot to buy the air. I forgot. No, I didn't get one of the flights.
Right,
I thought I had,
right.
And I didn't.
You bought one way and
like
round
the
trip,
day
yeah.
before, I'm like, I can't find the confirmation. And it's funny because I'm usually really good about like flight planning and vacation planning.
Confirmations and...
But that se me fue el tren. But anyway, over there I think I flew JetBlue, which JetBlue is always a pleasure.
Yes, that's
And
true.
they can still give you the blue potato
with their
chips.
yes.
But on the way back, it was Spirit. And granted, I flew Spirit Air exclusively when I lived in Michigan.
That's right.
And back then, it was great. It was I didn't have a single complaint about it. But in the years since then, I would hear people talk bad about Spirit Air, and I'm like,
what are you talking
really?
about?
Because I flew exclusively Spirit for 3 years, and I never had a problem.
Yeah, you're thinking, I think están quejándose.
Oh, but I didn't know that Spirit Air had downgraded. Like,
yeah, they're more like a Frontier.
right.
Now.
So when I walk in and I see these plastic seats with like a cover on them, I'm like, espérate. I'm supposed to go on me. I'm supposed to go on that thing. So half of me was on the seat and the other half was out. I'm like, I need an aisle. Like, I will not make it.
You're not gonna fit, yeah.
I will not make it.
Yeah.
No, like, this is a matter of like security and safety. I will not make it if I go even on the window. Like, I will not make it. So I had the aisle seat. Then I remember that I was like, okay, it's a 5-hour flight?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, okay, I need to kind of play a mind trick on myself because I can't go through 5 hours like this because literally like one ass cheek was on the seat and the other one was on the aisle. Like, that is how bad it was.
That's crazy.
Right? And I'll never forget that not across from me, but like maybe 3 rows ahead of me diagonally.
Okay.
Came this guy that was probably like my size too, tall, big guy.
Okay.
And he comes with one of those, I don't know if it's Wet Willies or whatever, those cups that are like 4 feet tall.
Oh, those like party cups.
Yes, that are like
right,
4 feet tall. And he comes in with that all happy from his weekend in Vegas. And then I'm looking at him and he was one of the last people to get in. And I'm like, I'm like, mijito,
¿Dónde vas a
¿a
meter
dónde
el-"
tú vas a poner eso? And it pasó I think he was holding it the entire time, like a baby on his lap, because he didn't have where to put it. So here I was, like
I
trying
would
to
have just had the flight attendant fill it with Coke.
Oh, can you imagine? No, well, Coke costs.
Oh, that's
so,
true. Never mind.
That would have been like
water. Then water.
No, water costs too.
Oh Lord.
Yes. So actually, no, water I think is still free.
Coño, pues 5 horas.
But definitely a soft drink.
Soda.
sorry.
Yeah.
And I remember I was thinking like, okay, I need to like sort of hypnotize myself because there's just no way that I'm going to make it for 5 hours, like literally
Hanging with your ass off the seat.
So I remember I was listening to this song, "Lonely" by Demi Lovato and Lil Wayne.
Wait, yes, you just played it on a loop.
I played it on a loop for 5 hours, and then what happened was I put my hoodie because I always fly with a hoodie.
This is true.
Always
Hoodie and
always.
sandals.
No, I wear sneakers. Hoodie, sneakers, and like jogging pants. Always.
Okay.
Comfort. I fly for comfort.
Right.
Esta
Just
gente que van toda vestida en an airplane.
No,
I'm like,
I mean it's lovely, but no.
no. I always wear a hoodie. So I had like my hoodie on, and like I had the same song on a loop for 5 hours, and then since I was kind of dozing off, it kind of disoriented me.
I think that you transcendental meditated.
Yes, I was like, this is like mind over matter. Like
You transcended with Demi Lovato and Lil Wayne
on a loop for 5 hours, and it was late. It was a late flight, so I was like in and out of consciousness. So and it worked. It worked because like I was so disoriented because I had the same song playing for 5 hours.
You didn't know if you were coming or going anyway.
I didn't know where what. I didn't have a measure of time, and it was great. It worked.
Well,
and I'm
go.
never flying Spirit.
So the moral of that story is
the moral
it
of that
worked,
story
but don't
is,
fly Spirit.
I'm not telling you, listeners, anything you don't know.
That's true.
Because everybody that has flown Spirit Air knows this, and Spirit. This is our opinion on Spirit Air, right? Opinion. This is not fact, so it's not defamation. It's our opinion.
As we officially lose that Spirit Air sponsorship.
It's true that like when you look them up, it's cheaper. But then te clavan with a $100 maleta charge.
Yeah, it's
y a
really
pagar
not.
maleta.
It's really not cheaper.
And I'm like, but esta maleta's like a bag. Like, what?
It's a duffel bag.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't really travel heavy.
No.
You are Mr. Duffel Bag
Yes.
Knapsack. Yeah.
Yes. I have a duffel bag and my
your backpack.
and my North Face bag that has traveled the world and back with me. And I'm gonna have that till my dying day.
Oh, you should be buried with it.
Many years from now.
Then it can accompany you on the ultimate trip.
On my North Face. Well, it does have a lifetime warranty.
Well, there you go.
Well, are we gonna finish the Vanessa Hudgens conversation?
No, just say that. Like, I mean, I've always liked Vanessa Hudgens, and I saw her on Broadway, and again, when she came out, it was High School Musical, and it was very Disney. So I think people felt like, oh, she's a pop star, whatever. Yeah, she can sing, but it's produced. But I will tell you, having seen the woman on stage, like if you are on Broadway and you cannot sing, we will know.
Have you ever seen somebody on Broadway that was just awful?
I'm trying to think. Not offhand. There was a show that was god awful.
One.
The one based on Tupac's songs.
Really? That must have been badly written because they have so much to work with.
The problem with that is that it wasn't a bio thing. It was like a after school special type of thing
with Tupac songs.
With Tupac songs, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't badly. If you had to get it closed in previews.
Wow.
It closed in previews, and we saw the previews because Joe managed to get us free tickets. So I saw it in previews. I didn't even pay.
Wow. I also remember, the only reason I know, because, as our listeners may know, I am not a fan of Broadway. I know that I'm wrong. But I don't really...
It's not so much that you're not a fan of it as a concept. It's just, it's not your thing.
It's not my thing. I really don't care for musicals. I have seen some musicals that I loved. Well, Avenue Q I wouldn't even consider, because Avenue Q is just una depravación.
It's so great.
I mean, it's hilarious.
You should see Book of Mormon. It's like Avenue Q.
Right. I loved Phantom of the Opera.
Classic.
Because Music of the Night is like one of my favorite songs ever. I liked Madonna. I liked Evita, but I think I like Evita because I know it by Madonna.
Yeah, you were tricked into it.
So I was like, I know all the songs here.
Right,
Which, I never know the songs in any
show going
in
in.
any show.
With the exception of On Your Feet.
Right. Well, that's true. Well, see, On Your Feet I loved, but I think that's different because that's a jukebox
it's a
musical?
jukebox musical,
And if
and-
you know all the songs
Right.
by someone,
Right.
I
And it
think
tells the story of her life too, so it was done well.
right. I mean, my problem with musicals is just I stop singing.
But
I
it's
know
a musical.
I know, but it's like I don't mind.
You know what's
it.
a musical without music? A play.
Right, but I don't mind it when there's like dialogue, musical number, dialogue, musical number.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, most musicals are not just music. Like Phantom is a straight through musical, but then your average jukebox musical actually has.
But the
dialogue.
reason we're talking about musicals is because Vanessa Hudgens, as we said, I don't know, at the beginning of the show 20 hours ago, I thought she was great in that Grease Live. They did some
yes.
musical. That Grease Live, again, I'm no authority on musicals.
Okay.
So I'm a very lay, uneducated opinion when it comes down to like scoring a musical.
Right.
But I felt that Grease Live they did a few years back was amazing. It was so good.
It was a.
I loved the Jessie J intro.
Yeah, it was also just a feat of technical brilliance because it was live, but it had multiple sets.
Yeah.
So it was like you were taking these kids from, soundstage to soundstage to soundstage, changing costumes in between because they all wore different costumes.
Yeah.
It's not even that they wore like one suit, like on the NBC musicals where it was like Peter Pan. So, okay, Esta Chiquita was dressed as Peter Pan the whole time. There was nothing there as opposed to a Grease Live. But yeah, no, and there are worse things I could do. I mean, se la comió.
Yeah. No, she
And,
was great.
and her father had just died the day before.
Yeah.
Like, let's just add to that.
You know what? I feel that like with Grease, and I mean everybody knows the songs of Grease.
Yeah. It's
you
the
don't
Great
have to be a
American
musical,
yeah.
to know it. Everybody knows those songs. I think, and again, this is coming from a lay opinion. I think that's probably like the best song on the soundtrack, and nobody ever talks about it.
It is the best song.
The
on the soundtrack.
worst things.
Yeah, there are worse things I can do. Yep, that is the best song in that soundtrack. And if you'll notice, most people
The other ones are a lot of fun and they're great.
most people want to play Rizzo
Yeah, for that song.
for that song, and just because she's kind of got the character arc, like
Yeah.
emotional character arc,
Yeah.
at the end of the show.
So that's like the more coveted
Yeah, like that's the featured role that you want to have.
Rizzo.
Yes.
Because I guess like when I was a kid and I used to watch Grease or hear the songs,
Right.
as a kid, maybe the song doesn't resonate as much because it's a downer.
right, yeah.
But then once you're, older, it's like, oh, the song is like really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally just found out that she is a teen. She's possibly pregnant in high school.
Yeah. No pressure.
No pressure.
Mientras que la otra boba is like, hey, stud.
Right. She's just like, well, I bought some leather pants. Time to be a tramp now.
You're the one that I like.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Oh,
I
Sandy.
remember, I mean, and maybe our listeners would, I would love to know what you think. We graduated high school in 97.
Yep.
I feel that movie had like a resurgence during that time.
I think, it probably had an anniversary or something around that
It's
time.
something. Because
Yeah.
I remember that like Grease and the soundtrack were everywhere. Like I'm seeing it in Blockbuster Music at the entrance. Which at that time it was like 20 years old.
I was going to say, I think Grease came out in 79, maybe?
Or 78. No, it came out in 78.
In 78. So
Yeah.
then that's what it was.
So
It was
20
years.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to see it in the theater for a sing-along.
Right. Wow. Well, speaking of musicals, one of the more traumatic experiences I've ever had was when we went to that GamerCon, the SuperCon here, and we saw Rocky's
Wait, no, I want to hear you say it because you never get it right.
the Rocky Picture Horror Show.
Close, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Eso mismo. Eso mismo.
Yes, when they did the staging.
Oh
yes.
my God, I can't. I can't.
Okay, but it was fun.
It was fun, but in such a weird way. And I was a total trooper. I ran with the naked people.
There's a reason it's called a cult classic.
I ran with the naked people. Nobody could ever tell me I don't live on the edge.
That's true. You ran with a bunch of half naked people at a comic book
Yeah.
convention.
And I remember I'm like, wow.
Which, if you've ever been to a comic book convention, listeners, you know that there's a lot of people who smell bad. So that alone, and now they're not wearing clothing, so all the aromas
I forget,
are out.
what's the rule? If you don't know what it is, it's anime.
It's anime.
It's anime?
Yeah, if you don't know what it is, it's anime.
Yeah, so anyway, bueno.
Or as I told you, if you're at a reunion and you don't know who the person is, it's that person's relative.
What?
Friend of ours.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, got it. So anyway, bueno, I feel that moving along now from this conversation of Vanessa Hudgens and musicals
And Grease.
that I did not anticipate we were going to have.
I don't think anybody could have.
So I was at dinner a few days ago, and I love these stories, and I love talking about them here in the podcast because it's like stories like this. It's like when you really, really see the differences between like hashtag growing up Hispanic.
Okay. And Oscar So White.
Yes, Oscar So White. So a few days ago, I was at the Olive Garden, Tristan's favorite restaurant.
He's not wrong.
Fight me. Whoever's out there and thinks the Olive Garden is gross, we love you, but keep your comments to yourself.
Damn it, now I want the bread.
I know. With the Alfredo dipping sauce. And just for the record, because when I tell people that I love the Olive Garden,
We love it for what it is.
right, immediately they're like, oh, it's not real Italian food. I'm like, do you think? I've been to Italy 4 times. I've been to North, South Italy. I've been to North Italy, South Italy. I've stayed in the Tuscan region. Okay. I've gone to freaking Capri, to Sorrento, to Sicily. I've been everywhere in Italy.
You know Italian food.
I know Italian food. Right? Okay, you lived in New York. I imagine you went to Little Italy. And I've been to Little Italy more times I can count. Right.
Yes, I actually know Italian people who have made sauce in their house. Yeah.
I know what Italian food is.
Right.
So believe me when I tell you that when you're going to come and lecture me and tell me that the Olive Garden is not real Italian food, I knew that.
It's not what we mean.
Like, but don't you feel like a little insulted sometimes when people are like, oh, it's not real Italian food? I'm like, no shit, Sherlock.
Yes,
like,
and Taco Bell's not real Mexican either.
Oh, it isn't?
Right.
Anyway, but, you know, Tristan loves the Olive Garden, so we went to the Olive Garden. So, in the booth in front of us was an older...
So you could see them?
Yes, they were in the booth right in front of us. Was an older, white Caucasian couple with their daughter.
When you say older,
probably in their 70s.
Okay.
Right, with their daughter, Brenda.
Okay, I love that you know her name.
Yes. And as white Caucasian people do, they were out to dinner. Because I'm sure that...
On a Sunday, right?
Because,
a family day, right?
Right. Brenda probably goes out to dinner with her parents every week or once a month or whatever.
Right. Whenever she's in town.
Right. Or whenever she's in town. Exactly. And I was listening into the entire conversation. Because Tristan was playing...
Clearly you were not at the bar.
Tristan was playing on that little video game thing they have there on the Olive Garden.
Yeah.
So
so
I'm like, okay, well, he's playing that. So I'm just sitting here listening away. So what I loved, and I love it the difference between like Cuban or Hispanic families and los Americanos.
Okay.
So they were like, oh, because, last week we went out with the Richardsons.
Oh.
Yes. And the Richardsons were talking to us that they were going to go summer. The winter, the lake house. The lake house.
Oh, so these weren't just white people.
Right. They were going to the lake house up in Wisconsin. Because, because remember, that the Richardsons, whatever. And I'm like, can you imagine, like, our family being like, ¿sabe que los Martínez tienen una casa en el lago? Like, the translation just sounds so different.
I'm gonna lose credibility though because my parents do have a cabin in the mountains.
Yeah, they have it in North Carolina, but not
still.
The same thing.
But I can see people saying no,
really?
la casa de la montaña.
La casa de la montaña, really, with the Llanos.
Well, I mean that's their name.
All right, because you think that a Hispanic family would be like, no, porque los Llanos tienen una casa en.
Not the same way, but
Of course it's not the same way. They'll be like, no, porque la casa que tiene Joaquín en la Carolina. That's what they would say.
Okay. That's, you're right.
That's what they would say. Like, what Cuban says...
It's not formal.
What Cuban says, no, los Martínez o los Sánchez, los Garcías. ¿Sabe que estaba en casa de los Garcías el otro día? Like, who the hell says that in Spanish?
I don't know most of my parents' friends' last names.
Because they don't go by their last name.
Yeah, no, because...
That's a white thing.
It's funny you say that because I didn't think about that until you said that right now. And it's like, yeah, I have friends who they're like,
Hispanic people also don't go camping.
It's like...
We don't. as our friends Gio and Adri know, who traveled around the world.
That is true.
Right?
And they roughed it.
Our parents did not leave Cuba that was filled with air conditioned apagones and mosquitoes
Pa pasar
for
trabajo.
us to say as like, in leisure and as kind of
As a lark.
yes. Oh, we're gonna go sleep outside in the Everglades.
On purpose.
Bullshit.
On
No.
purpose.
No, hell no. Hell no. We were under un mosquitero for way too long to be sleeping
To
in
go
a tent.
pay for it.
But anyway, back to, Brenda and her parents.
Brenda.
So I thought it was just so funny. Like their conversation, like, Brenda, did you finally answer that email you got regarding that conference you went to in, like, I don't know where they said, like, Newport or something. And I'm like,
Why do they know her emails?
and I'm like, again, the conversations they were having were fine.
But they were so formal. And
Because that's why I'm saying
and so like
it's the difference between Hispanic parents and white people. Because first of all,
I don't even think my parents have ever asked me if I've answered an email that they've even been copied on.
when I go out to dinner with my parents, which is somewhat often, it's because we want to go stuff our face. And then, my parents love also the Olive Garden, the Cheesecake Factory, and all those.
Who doesn't love a bargain?
Right, like loves all those type of restaurants. Right. So it's like, ay, estamos aburridos en la casa. Vamos a salir a comer. Porque mira, tengo un certificado que me regalaron.
That's
No sé
true.
quién.
O
Right.
un discount.
Exactly. It's not like a formality for us to catch up, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, no, we don't do formal.
No.
Even on Thanksgiving.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think the dynamic is so different. Like, I mean, I could not imagine sitting with my parents at any restaurant with my parents asking me, also, what happened to that email, that conference that you... No.
I can't fathom that being a topic at all.
No. They'll be like, oye, oíste que Marta tiene sarampión.
Wait, what is sarampión? Wait, I know that as a word. Sarampión is like a rash.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
O viste que a fulano, bueno, if it would have been some years ago, viste, dio la rubiola.
La rubiola. Oh.
No. O no, porque mira, porque Sandra siempre ha sido una tarrúa.
Oh,
like, that is the type of thing
that's true.
that I'll speak to my parents about,
Yeah, like, even if they're asking about...
Or the typical thing, oye, el niño ya está sobrepasado de peso. Okay?
Right.
Está gordo el niño. So, tienen que aguantarle la boca.
As the plates of Olive Garden come to the table.
That is the type of shit that my parents would tell me over dinner.
Yeah. No, and it's the delivery. Because I can, they will ask things like, oh yeah, hablaste con fulano.
And also, your parents' house in the mountains, your parents have a house in North Carolina, just like every other Cuban.
Listen, but for some Cubans, that's the holy grail.
Right. Just like but that's what I'm telling you. It's not like your parents have a summer house on the lake.
No, they have a year-round house.
They have a year-round house in North Carolina, which is where all Cubans go to. For some reason. There was a memo that was passed at
They're
some
starting,
point
let me tell you something. Murphy was pretty non-Cuban-y. It was all Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, and now they're starting to encroach.
There was a memo that was passed at some point.
Yeah,
we don't know where.
We don't know or why.
Why or who it came from that says that Cubans must go to North Carolina.
No,
they don't go to South Carolina.
No, we don't go to South.
They
we
don't go to
North.
Tennessee.
No, we do go to Tennessee.
No, you go to Tennessee to Gatlinburg.
Right, you go to Gatlinburg.
Right, because
Gatlinburg
Cubans don't go to
Forge.
Aspen.
No, but you go to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, but fin de año.
Right, but the house, you buy it in North Carolina. The cabin.
Well, now Blue Ridge.
Right, you buy it in North Carolina, or you buy it in North Carolina. What Cuban goes to Aspen? Cubans don't go to Colorado. Like, they go to Gatlinburg, and they go to Gatlinburg driving. That's another thing, driving. You put everybody in the van.
Claro, because then when you get there, you don't have to rent a car.
Right. So do you think
practicality, my friend?
Do you think that the Richardsons' friends who were out with their daughter Brenda do that? Of course not.
I would love to know if the Richardsons talk about Brenda and her parents.
No, the Richardsons shared a cherry cheesecake. Yeah, they're being conscious.
They shared one slice.
Yes, cheesecake is very rich
between the three of them.
Yes, and like I was like in awe with their conversation because I'm like, this is so, and it, well, actually,
This is, look at my face as I'm trying to comprehend sharing a piece of cheesecake with anyone.
right. But it's so funny because then like across from them was this table of 6 that I think they were Dominicano because they said vaina a lot.
Okay.
And I'm like, I mean, look,
I can relate. I can relate to that table.
No, not only I could relate, but it was like the perfect example of like una mesa de americano y la
mesa
otra
latino.
mesa de latino. That it's like, my parents would never say like, los Martínez, porque vamos a ir a... ¿Cómo están los Martínez?
That's so like telenovela.
Yes. But that's hashtag growing up white versus hashtag growing up...
Latin, Hispanic.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Ay, they're so formal. Yo no entiendo.
Hey people, DJ here. If there's something that I've made pretty clear over 4 seasons of this show is how much I love music. Creating the perfect playlist is one of my favorite pastimes. And now I have the perfect way to hear them with my Raycon wireless earbuds. You all know since the quarantine I've become obsessed with biking, and Raycons are the best way to listen while I'm pushing myself to get those extra miles. Not only do they come with a bunch of gel tips so you can listen in comfort, but they don't stick out of your ears like some other earbuds do. And with a 32-hour battery life, I can bike for miles with my Raycons without worrying about my soundtrack going silent, because that kind of sucks. Did we also mention Raycons are half the price of other premium audio brands without sacrificing quality? Well then, how about you make your own soundtrack with Raycon? Right now, pero let me tell you, listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/pero. Plus, they come with a 45-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. So visit buyraycon.com/pero to save 15% off your Raycons. buyraycon.com/pero.
Oye, mi gente, it's Ish. You know from listening to us, we love the gym, but there's no reason to spend lots of money every month just to stay healthy. That's where YouFit comes in. You've heard me say it many times. I freaking love YouFit. It's got state-of-the-art equipment, and you're not on top of one another, which is a must in this day of social distancing. And memberships start at just $10 a month. Why pay more? It's not like paying more instantly gives you muscles or anything. Plus, many locations have group fitness classes and affordable personal training to further help you achieve your goals. I mean, you're unique. Shouldn't your workouts be also? Así que what are you waiting for? Find your fit at youfit.com to find a club nearest you. After all, only you can be your own fitness hero.
Bueno, anyway, so this is kind of like a... I think we're in a time right now that is, it's, you know, this happens every now and then. There's a lot going on, like not good.
Yeah.
Between
los pobres de Haiti.
between the earthquake in Haiti, and now they're gonna get a tropical storm, to what's going on in Afghanistan, to, you know,
The COVID.
What?
The COVID.
Oh, I thought you said Brooke Hogan. I'm like, what happened to Brooke Hogan?
Yes, because I always think Afghanistan, Haiti, and Brooke Hogan.
I don't know. Maybe something happened to Brooke Hogan. Her reality show was a disaster. No,
what she's
like
doing now.
Greece and a lot of the Mediterranean is burning.
Oh, really?
Yes. You haven't seen that? Do you watch the news?
I just enough. I've been more about like Afghanistan, what's going on over there.
Okay.
I've been more preoccupied, okay?
It's just, there's so many things going on that are just terrible. And you know, I say it all the time. It puts you in this whole thing of like, how much is watching too much of the news? Because I don't like to be ignorant, and I don't like... ignorance is bliss is one of those double-edged swords, because on the one hand, you don't want to be so disconnected that you don't know what's going on, because, you know, that's how change happens. But on the other hand, you know,
You need a break sometimes.
You need a break sometimes, and like this stuff that's going on is just terrible. Let me tell you something. Si hay un país que necesita un despojo,
Haiti.
es Haiti. Y yo no sé, with the Dominican Republic sharing an island, ¿cómo ahí no han hecho un despojo?
They don't... well, no. Apparently, Dominican Republic did on its side.
Yes.
Because I mean, I'm not saying that things are ideal and perfect, you know, on DR, but it has its moments. But compared to Haiti, And they share
the Dominican
island.
Republic is a
Is a Shangri-La.
paradise
Yeah.
next to
Haiti.
right?
Yeah.
Because like people in the Dominican Republic, there's poverty and like
Right.
what
Yeah.
a lot of other countries have, but it has an economy, it has a functioning government.
I also just don't hear as much natural disasters happening there.
I don't know what happens. It kind of like overpasses. It's the same island.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's take all of the other stuff out of the equation, right? Like, and just boil it down to like, oye, cada vez que hay un huracán, acaba con Haití. Cada vez que hay un terremoto, acaba con Haití.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, they don't have the menos ahora todavía. They don't have the infrastructure
Of course not.
to accept the aid that they need in those
Yeah.
moments.
Do you know what happened to them after the 2010 earthquake?
Yeah, you told me that
France
right?
wanted to pay to rebuild the National Palace, and there was no
infrastructure, I guess.
there was no either entity or government agency or anybody
contact.
that would take over that job and secure those funds and map
Make
that
it
out.
happen, essentially.
There wasn't, and they couldn't. So it's like
That's crazy to me.
it's such a I feel that like the problem there is it's so bad. Like I don't like to compare tragedies, but like I think about it like it's sometimes I think it's even like worse than like Cuba in the sense that in Haiti there's such a
Well, because Cuba no sufre con los terremotos tanto, and with all, I mean, again,
no, but
just from a natural disaster perspective,
everything is a disaster. Like everything,
they can never get a leg up.
right?
It's like before they even begun,
Right.
another thing befalls them.
And they're such like I feel like hurt people. They've been battered over and over and over again, and like because Cuba at least, I mean, it doesn't help the people, it helps the government, but Cuba at least has tourism, which again, the money goes to the government.
Pero bueno, buscando el lado positivo.
But like there, I mean, Labadee doesn't cut it.
No, that one little island. Yeah, no.
Owned by Royal Caribbean, that doesn't cut it. And bueno, in Afghanistan, like,
Okay, did
you see the images of the people falling off the plane?
I didn't see that, but I am amazed at how, after 20 years, it's basically took all of 10 minutes for it just because it's one of those things that is going to happen, right? But you still kind of hold on to like, this is going to happen, but let me not be totally negative. But to see the speed with which these people just showed up again and was just like, well,
they were always there.
no, but okay, but
They're waiting for the Americans to leave.
right.
I have mixed feelings about that, and I have to tell you that I've no secret on the show. I voted for Joe Biden. I'm a Democrat, but unlike other people, I hold my elected leaders accountable.
You radical, you.
And I expect certain things from them, and when I don't get it, I am critical of them. I think that the whole thing with first of all, I mean, this could be a conversation that could take 5 hours, but it's not.
But let's whittle it down, shall we?
The Middle East is just something that is very, 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 very complicated. It's been for hundreds of years.
Yeah, we're not going to solve it in 20.
It's been one U.S. failed policy after another. So sometimes you have to understand your losses and move on. Everything about Afghanistan, again, without turning this into a 5-hour conversation, has been ill-advised and ill-done.
Executed.
We should have never been in Afghanistan. We should have never been there 20 years, but we were there. So now what are we going to do?
We got to pull out at some point.
We got to pull out at some point, but what do? We pull out in a certain way because, for example, a lot of people, this is going to affect the Taliban taking over Afghanistan just across the board. But, for example, a lot of people that were translators.
Oh, yeah, they got to go.
They got to go or they're going to be executed.
They got to run.
Immediately. So why didn't we start giving these people visas?
Right, because you knew this was coming. You knew this was coming, yeah.
Generally, when the United States or any military power leaves a region, if they leave behind any artillery or anything, artillery
weapon
related, if they don't take it with them, they destroy it.
Right.
They haven't done that. Like they've left weapons there.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I think that you can make the argument that we had to withdraw at some point.
Yeah, you can't just perpetually be there.
And that I agree with in the sense that, like, how much longer are we going to be there? And, it's costing American lives as well as civilian lives there
and
too.
money.
And money. So there needed to be a withdrawal, but not like this. And I think that either Biden has been given the wrong information, which has happened time and time again. The intelligence in different Middle East issues in the Middle East, or he flat out botched it. And if he botched it, he should be held accountable for it,
Right.
or his administration should be held accountable for it.
It just seems weird that there doesn't seem to be like a real plan. It just seems to be like, okay, it's
Real
midnight.
plan? No.
It's taken me longer
you would say
to check out of an Airbnb.
Right, you would say real plan if there was some of a plan. Right. There's no plan.
It was just like at midnight on this day,
We're gone.
We're gone. Like it's Cinderella.
We're gone. And it's just heartbreaking to see those images of the planes leaving.
Yeah, I know Enrique Santos posted one of an aircraft carrier just packed.
Yes.
Packed with people.
It was very reminiscent of when during the Vietnam War when Saigon fell. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you've seen the footage of the helicopters leaving the American embassy. No. You've never seen that?
No.
Oh my God. It is heart-wrenching to watch because what happened was, so to make another very, very complicated thing very, very quick, North Vietnam, which was the communist military that was trying to take over all of Vietnam, was making its way down in South Vietnam into Saigon, which was the capital. So the Americans, I'm surprised you haven't seen a video of this because it's very iconic footage. The Americans had an aircraft carrier nearby. Mm-hmm. And, the aircraft carriers obviously have a bunch of airplanes and helicopters and stuff like that. So the Americans were throwing the planes, literally pushing the planes off the aircraft carrier into the water to clear the space in the aircraft carrier. So they had one helicopter or two helicopters that would go to the embassy to pick people up. And they did that for hours until literally the North Vietnam, I don't say North Korea, the North Vietnam forces were literally at the gate.
We are here.
Of the embassy in Saigon. That's when Saigon fell, which is, to bring it back, musical.
Miss Saigon.
Which Saigon is about. The helicopter. There's a whole helicopter
thing.
Oh,
yeah, the whole helicopter scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, you got to use things I know.
So how we brought that back? Full circle?
Yes.
And then there's the footage is of that last, helicopter leaving the American embassy, and people are like hanging off of it and all that stuff because that was it. So it's very tragic, and it's just one of those things that and again, not to make this overly political and not to make it right versus wrong, but when you see these horrible tragedies that other people are going through and other countries are dealing with. Right. I mean, these people in Afghanistan, they're going to impose Sharia law.
Of course they are.
And women can no longer...
basically exist.
Girls cannot go to school.
No.
They're going to be beheadings left and right. And here we are complaining about wearing a mask.
I mean, it's the same thing.
I mean,
it's
here we are screaming bloody murder because we have to wear
a mask.
No, they're asking us to wear a mask.
True, because we're not even being forced.
Right. They're asking us to wear masks.
Right.
So that's why, for me at least, when I have these kind of conundrums, if you will, it's I always try to put things in perspective. Right. It's okay, this is what's required and this is what they're asking. Really, whatever it could be. You know.
You look at the bigger picture.
I look at the bigger picture. It's really that's why I check my first world privilege many times.
Right.
Because we all have first world privilege, right?
Yeah.
I check my first world privilege all the time. And I always catch myself, because I try not to, but
we're human.
We're human.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I start complaining about something, even if it's just to myself, or I get upset or frustrated or something, I'm like, Darian, check your first world privilege.
Yeah. Look, it's not to say that your problems don't matter to you, but it's again bigger
que
picture.
Cuba, la gente no está comiendo tanta mierda.
Exactly. I don't know, dude. When I see things like that, like what's happening right now in Afghanistan, it it kills me. You know, it kills my soul a little bit. And I really start to question if, you know, is it, I'm going to sound horrible right now, but is it even worth going through the hassle of going to these areas and trying to change things? Because
but the reason we got into
20 years is not a long period, but 20 years and for what?
Well, but we got into Afghanistan because of 9/11.
Fair enough, but I'm broadening the scope. Like, you know, when people are like, "Oh, go in and help," and
But
it's
that's been one of the things that the United States historically has been criticized on. Wow, we're getting really deep on episode 170 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
This is definitely the
This
learn.
is the learn. I mean, we were talking about the Richardsons a little while ago,
Right, and Vanessa Hudgens.
right? Well, that's something that's always been criticized of international American policy,
Right.
is that what makes us think that we should impose democracy or our form of government
Right.
in other countries, right? And you have to stop and think about that. Especially countries that have such a different culture.
Yeah.
Right? You have to stop and think about that, because you know what? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And sometimes maybe your intentions are good, or maybe they're not so good, but maybe you think it's for the greater good of everybody, but it really is it?
Yeah.
And those are the type of questions that a lot of times people feel very un-American asking, or very unpatriotic. No, I mean, you could be very patriotic and love America and love your country and what it stands for, but that doesn't mean that, strategically we haven't been made mistakes in
Nobody's perfect.
our history, slavery,
Nobody's
Jim
perfect.
Crow laws, Japanese
Internment camps.
so
Little
on and so
little
forth.
things like that. Things like that.
Yeah,
But I mean, there's an entire generation of people who grew up not quote unquote not knowing Taliban rule, and now it's like, well, today you woke up and guess what? You know what I mean? Like your whole world.
Well, I mean, I think that
your whole world's upside down.
I think they've been afraid of it for a while.
But it's one thing to be afraid of it, and it's another thing to actually have to confront living in it.
Well, no, absolutely.
Because again, 20 years, I mean, that's like that's a child, coming into adulthood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Growing up in a
Speaking
different
of which,
scenario.
Can you believe it's going to be 20 years of 9/11?
It's also interesting that was it always going to be 20 years and then we pull out, or is it just the timing just happened to coincide?
No, I think it just
okay.
happened to coincide.
I still can't believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, you could say what you want to say, but life has never been the same.
Well, of course not.
No, because some people be like, well, we recovered and we're stronger. I
mean, we recovered in so much as people do when they are faced with such an adverse situation. You rebuild, you move on, and you overcome, but nothing is ever the same. Like, even with COVID, let's say tomorrow we wake up and you know what? COVID evaporated. It's gone. Great. But that doesn't take away the 1.5 2 years of living through it and how it affects your day to day and the things that you may have not noticed before that you notice now. Like, for me, even it's such a weird thing. Like with COVID, all I can think about now is, why haven't servers been wearing masks all this time?
No,
they're
but
dealing
just,
with food.
But just like when
so you never it's
when
never
you
done.
used to fly before,
right?
Just flying,
right? That's what I'm saying.
You would go to the metal detector, and be like, oh, I have to take my shoes off,
my belt.
But never once when you were going through TSA. Well, TSA didn't exist. When you're going through the simple metal detector,
yeah,
did you think
there was a bomb?
I mean, the worst was like hijacking a plane.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Like that was the worst that before 9/11 occurred, which. It's
horrible, right? Yeah.
But
this was next level hijacking,
right?
Yeah.
And now, like you go to the airport with a certain sense of.
I'm hyper vigilant.
Yeah, but you go with a certain sense of like having your guard up.
You almost have to
right?
put it out of your mind,
right? And I think that maybe if you are somebody who was like don't remember 9/11 before, if you're a younger person, you probably see the airport experience very differently than we do. Because this is all they know.
Yeah.
And just anywhere, like sometimes you're in a public setting or in a public place and you hear like a noise and people now lose their shit.
Yeah.
Before, not that, there wouldn't be hysteria or people wouldn't get
But it was different.
concerned, but it was different.
People would be like, oh, what was that?
It was different. And then
Right.
also now, every time something happens now, the first thing is, was it terrorism?
Yeah.
So, oh my God, can we talk about something like lighter?
I have a feeling that at this point, anything we talk about would be lighter.
You know something you said one time that I've never forgotten for some reason?
That Madonna would never do a residency.
And you said one time that, it's Madonna's birthday
It's Madonna's birthday this week. Yeah. Happy 63rd.
That you've always wondered why Adam Levine from Maroon 5 has never gone solo. And I remember when you said that, I was like, oye, verdad. He's never gone solo.
No, he's done solo projects, like featured on a song or whatever, but never gone solo. I totally thought of this when I was there, and I had forgotten until I looked at my phone right now. So after what felt like a good 7,000 years, this past weekend, Jose and I went to Mall of the Americas.
Oh, awesome. Was Midway Sports still open?
It was not, but you know what?
Midway Sports closed?
I didn't see it. I don't know. What side was it on? If you walk into the main entrance, is it to the left or to the right?
When you talk about the main entrance, you mean when you enter through the food court?
Yes.
Right. Past the circle.
Okay, no, that's not there.
More towards...
That's not there. That's not there. There was no sports store.
Because Midway Sports has been... The reason it's called Midway Sports...
Because of Midway Mall.
Because of Midway Mall. Okay, I need to look that up.
So, when I walked in, the first thing that they still have there
a Radio Shack?
is a Radio Shack.
That's awesome.
But it's a Radio Shack in name only.
What is it inside?
Maleta.
Oh, that's just means...
Venden todo menos. That just means they didn't take the sign down.
They didn't take the sign down.
They didn't take the sign down. But let me tell you something. I don't understand how Mall of the Americas is still open.
I know. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying... I mean, yes, it has some anchor stores. Like, it's got a Marshall's, a Burlington, which, let me tell you something. Have you ever been to a Burlington? That is the nicest Burlington I've ever been to. It was so spacious. It's 2 stories.
Yes, because it's where Luria's used to be.
Yes, and I mean, and I've thought of everything. And then so they have an Old Navy, they have a Five Below, they have, but everything else was pretty much either closed or it was like, little, I'm gonna call them boutiques, boutique shops where it's like, I can't imagine that these people are selling so much sequined dresses that they're making their rent every month. Like, I just can't. And so that's why I don't understand how they're still open. I just don't understand how Mall of the Americas is still open.
Well, rent is cheap.
Okay, pero por muy barato que esté.
Yeah, but I feel that Mall of America...
Like, they still have to pay for
electricity. This is such a regional...
But Mall of the Americas is like that one mall that has been kind of let go. It's kind of run down. It's,
Right, but it's also... It's not top-tier stores.
Anymore, yeah.
No, it's never been top-tier. Since we've... Really. Because when we were kids...
You're right. No,
they had Tico.
Okay, which I was a little sad that it closed.
Right, Tico closed about 25 years ago.
Well, I was sad then. I'm sad now. I can be sad for long periods of time.
Let's see, it had Tico.
Okay.
And it had
Old Navy. I know that.
It had an Old Navy.
It had an Old Navy, and it became an Old Navy outlet. It had Rave.
Right, because Rave was a pinnacle of shopping.
Well,
Okay,
not a
did it
pinnacle.
have a Gap? No. Did it have a Limited or Express?
No.
Did it have a Victoria's Secret?
Did it?
It didn't.
Did it have a Bath and Body?
No.
It had a Specs.
It had a Perfumania.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's the pinnacle of
Do you
aroma.
say Perfumania or Perfumania?
Perfumania.
I say Perfumania too.
Yeah. Because we're not weird.
I remember one of the first dollar stores I ever went to was to Midway Mall.
Really?
And it was yes, this wasn't like in 1990.
No, I'm trying to think of the stores. I know there was at Specs. There was a movie
Cine.
There was a movie theater, which was there forever.
Yeah, I'd seen it.
Which is funny. Seth and Marcela have one of the chairs from that theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When they were going to go tear it down, they went and they took one.
I remember that in the 80s, there was a Walgreens there, and that Walgreens I had there was one of the last Walgreens with a soda fountain. And I completely remember the soda fountain.
It was a Walgreens or a Woolworth?
It was a Woolworth.
That's why when you said Walgreens, I was like, wait a minute. It was a Woolworth.
You're right. It was a Woolworth.
Yeah, it was never a top tier.
Oh,
but
it moved to Midway Sports, moved to South Miami.
So it's still open?
It's still open, yeah. Because I went to Mall of the Americas maybe 2 years ago. It was before COVID.
I can't remember the
and
last
they
time.
were open, and I went in and I asked them. I'm like, you are the Midway Sports that's always been open here. They're like, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When Mall of the Americas went from Midway Mall to Mall of
That
the
was like,
Americas,
what, 88?
it was like 88, 89, 90. It went through like a renaissance because it's still very 90s, very early 90s.
Oh, yes.
There's
They
a lot
have-
of pink and gray.
They have not changed that logo.
No. It's a lot of pink and gray. And I remember when, they opened up the Lurias
Right.
and Santa Cruz Furniture.
That's
and
what Jose was hoping was still there.
Santa Cruz Furniture.
He's like, when we walked out of the Old Navy, he's like, because that's where we went. He had to go exchange something at Old Navy, and it was the closest one to us. So he's like, if we walk to the end of this mall and Santa Cruz Furniture is still there, I'm gonna lose my
I
shit.
love that he remembers Santa Cruz Furniture. Our furniture from the 80s was from Santa Cruz Furniture.
Of course.
Right. Well, no, because my parents at that time couldn't quite afford El Dorado.
Right. And Rooms to Go hadn't made its way down
Right.
here yet. Yeah.
Right. So it was El Dorado, Santa Cruz Furniture, or Levitt's. But Levitt's was Cubans don't go to Levitt's.
No, and at that time, City Furniture was still Waterbed City.
was
So,
still Waterbed
so we were
City.
confused. We didn't
Right,
know there was other
right,
things there.
Right.
Right.
Y también estaban los muebles de Bernines. Pero
Ay,
los muebles de Bernines-
was Modern Age around?
Yes.
Or had they
No,
closed
but
already?
I see. But we weren't going to go all the way to past the big curve to go to Modern Age.
That's true. That structure's still there, I think, right?
The gate.
The gate,
Yes,
yeah.
it is. Modern Age. Modern Age. I'll never forget. In the 80s, like in the mid 80s, there was this like Scandinavian furniture like renaissance. Yes.
Really?
Don't you remember the door store
No.
and Scan Design?
No.
Yes. Like los muebles Scandinavo.
I don't remember any of this.
Yes.
You
in
might as well be
fact,
speaking in
Bird
Scandinavian.
Road, that area there of in Bird Road off the Palmetto that has all the warehouses now, that all used to be Scandinavian furniture.
Oh, I just remember that being full of furniture with rattan.
Well, that was another big hit of the 80s.
Okay, that's what I remember.
Right.
I remember
that
lots
was
of
the
rattan.
opposite of Scandinavian furniture.
That's why I'm like, I remember lots of rattan.
Right. That my parents would have been like, ay, qué feos son los muebles Scandinavo.
And
so
now we
plain.
all go to IKEA.
My parents don't like IKEA.
Oh, really?
No, they're like, eso es mueble barato. Eso es mueble que no tiene calidad.
I mean, they are cheap, but listen, my whole apartment is furnished by
Right,
IKEA.
but IKEA doesn't go with the Cuban aesthetic of
That's true. We are more of a DJ Khaled El Dorado furniture.
Yes, with like lots of burgundies
yes.
and
gilded things.
yes, with the house inside paint and semi-gloss.
Because if your walls don't shine back at you, did you even paint?
Gosh, when I'm at Home Depot and I see these few and it's Cubans, sí queremos la pintura con brillo. I want to be like, pero why?
Let me ask you a question. What would you actually use pintura con brillo for? Like,
I wouldn't use it, period.
but if you let's say optimal scenario.
The only thing I would use it for, which like here,
I mean, like, why does it exist? Like, what is it,
well,
like-
because the whole thing with semi-gloss paint is that it's true. It's more resilient to like water
Okay.
and stains.
Okay.
Right? It is. It is. So for example, like even like my baseboards when I painted the house last year, I used like a satin finish.
Okay.
Right? Which is kind of in the middle.
Okay.
Right? And there's certain things like certain looks you can get like with semi-gloss paint, but you really have to know what you're doing.
Okay.
Right? But in terms of painting your walls inside your house semi-gloss, first of all, you could paint flat. Most good paint nowadays that's even flat.
Has some type of resistance.
Yes, that you could wipe
Dirt,
it down.
yeah.
Right? Right.
Right.
But I don't know why people lose their shit. It's all Cubans. Sí con brillo. And I'm like, do you realize that la pintura con brillo shows every freaking imperfection on your freaking wall? On your freaking wall, people. And it's just the way that light bounces off of it. And then, of course, and I could say this because, it's Cubans. I don't know what it is with Cuban people and buying bright white bulbs.
Like fluorescent?
The fluorescent bulbs. Like, I don't know why. No, porque mira, la electricidad gasta menos. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Doesn't it? Isn't that its whole selling point?
It does, but most bulbs now are like high efficiency.
Oh, that's
And
true.
How much are you spending less
That's
a month?
true.
$1?
That's true. No, yeah, you're right. Most of the bulbs nowadays are
Or like high efficiency.
Yeah.
And those, you have that semi-gloss paint with,
With un farol.
Un farol. And it's like, pero why? That's why pictures are so like, the lighting is
That's
terrible.
why all of our pictures in the 80s are great.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I remember my parents for a few years tenían esa luz fría en la casa until one day I bought a bunch of bulbs, like LED bulbs, and I go, guess what? Te voy a cambiar todos los focos en la casa porque esto está de madre.
I think the only place that they had luz fría It was like
Afuera, en la terraza.
no, but also some people also in the kitchen.
In the kitchen? Yes.
In the kitchen. For some reason, we had to be very bright when we were cooking.
Yes, that's why all the pictures in my family that we take in the counter of the kitchen
For the
on the
birthdays.
birthdays are so well lit because we had luz fría and then the kitchen cabinets in my house, my parents' house, have always been white. So imagínate.
El resplendor.
Right. The resplendor between the white semi-gloss paint with the white kitchen cabinets, white formica, with the white incandescent.
It is a miracle
luz
we
fría.
don't just look like ghosts in all of your
Oh my
birthday
God,
pictures.
Con el flash de la cámara, it's like, oh my.
Seriously, how did we even show up on film? We should have been like vampires.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It was terrible. I remember my parents had for years. Maybe you remember it. I don't know, in a family room tenía un cuadro ahí con un tigre. And I'm like, why the hell do we have this?
I don't remember this.
Yes. This was like early 90s. You were already going to my parents' house.
I know, but I don't remember
Unos tigre, and then my mom, like every other Hispanic woman in Miami, la cogió for some time in the 90s con la casita.
Oh yeah, we all did
The
la
little
casita.
the little casita fronts that you put in the kitchen.
Yes, and of course las casitas gave way to las descaradas.
No, las descaradas were first.
Were they
the Dominican
first?
Republics, yes. Las muñecas las descaradas.
Yeah, so we started with la descarada,
Yes.
and then somewhere along the line, it was the bottles with the vegetables and the oil.
Yes, a very Tuscan-looking kitchen.
Yes.
Yes. This was like late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
That now everything went brown.
Yeah, muted tones were in.
Yes. Burgundy, brown.
Well, I guess it's because you had
beige.
those brat-ass lights and
Right,
you needed something
yes,
to bring it
yes.
down.
So tú compras estos porrones of like chili peppers.
Yes!
In a very intricate glass bottle.
And the bottles all had sides. They weren't
Yes.
round.
No, they were very complex.
They were all like trapezoidal.
Yes, they were shapes that you would study in
In design
arithmetic in
school, yes.
And it'd always be like peppers or like I don't know.
There was always like peppers and like habichuelas.
Yes, artichokes were also popular.
Artichokes, yes.
Or like some even had like shaved melocotón.
Oh, I didn't. But we weren't that fancy.
Yes, and then you would see people like putting them, in the corner as decorative.
They always wound up on the top of the cupboards.
Yes, next to the vino sign.
Yes, they were never at eye level.
Yes.
Like you could not touch these Tuscan things. No, it was always.
Era de bonito.
Pero bonito donde nadie lo va a ver.
What I loved at my parents' house, like just like in every house in Miami, right? On top of the cabinets, the space between the top of the cabinets and the ceiling,
Right.
Which usually was like maybe a foot or two.
Yeah, that's a good size.
Right.
Yeah.
When my mom, every like 1 or 2 months, se levantaba los sábados to stand on the countertops para limpiar los gabinetes arriba.
Oh, bueno, claro.
Porque tenían la malanga and all the silk plants.
Right.
De
Oye,
mentira.
y lo que colecta de polvo.
Sí, los helechos plásticos que tenía ella allá arriba with all that bullshit, Que a limpiar, porque porque los gabinetes arriba están llenos de polvo. And I'm like, nobody is seeing that. Like,
No, pero niño, la coriza.
la coriza.
La
sí,
coriza.
la
Eso,
bestia.
eso te entra en el sistema y te deja mal.
And then you have to take inhalaciones con mi vaporru. In the kitchen, too.
While you look at your descaradas, your
Yes, in the kitchen.
ceramic houses, and
Yes.
your
I bet you,
Tuscan
I
bottles.
bet you the Richardson's house didn't look like that.
I think the only Tuscan thing in the Richardson's house came from Tuscany.
Yes. And I'm telling you, we've talked about it here in the podcast a few times. I would love to put like a Cuban household retrospective.
Like a montage.
Yes, of the atrocities.
Well, you document everything, so I am sure.
No, and I have to say,
I'm sure you've got pictures,
seriously
not just of your
speaking-
house. I'm saying in general.
Seriously speaking, my parents have never been that bad. My parents have never been tacky.
But it's not about being tacky or bad. It's just that as Cubans, there are just certain things that we at some point had in our house.
I remember like in the early 90s, but I don't know if this is specific to Cubans. Like everything was pastel colored,
Southwestern.
Yeah. Oh, yes. The fresco,
Yes, the Southwestern motif.
Yes. That was popular too for
Yes.
a bit there. But yeah, I remember like the early 90s, it was all about like gray and pinks.
Which still looks cute together as a combination.
No, but you're thinking of like 21st century gray and pink.
Well, I'm thinking like mid-century, like Alicia Silverstone and Clueless, like
Yeah.
retro-y.
But yeah, and then just everything was off. Like las lámparas. They would have like estas intricate lámparas. And like, bueno, the plastic and the furniture, that was like more early 80s.
Yeah, but that's been said and done.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's and that's also like Italian families and Jewish families.
Yeah.
Like, we don't corner the market on that one.
One of my favorite scenes from Everybody Loves Raymond was when they took the plastic off the furniture.
I don't remember.
You haven't seen it?
No.
There was an episode where they were like telling Marie to like live on the edge.
All right.
And she takes the plastic off the furniture and she sits down and she touches it. And she goes, feels nice. But needless to say, the plastic eventually
Did not last.
Ends up on the
Back on.
furniture. It's funny because I'm looking up on the computer now the logo to Mall of the Americas, and like that's so early 90s.
It's still there, babe.
I would keep it at this point.
Oh no, what are they gonna do?
Eventually, you'll be in
it-
again.
It's sad because it's run down at this point. I mean, it really is. But you remember the entrance had like the waterfall things
Yes.
features. Eso ahí no ha corrido agua nomás que cuando llueve.
Yeah,
Because it's all rusted and it's
Yeah.
just not cute. Like
yeah.
I would love somebody to walk in there and kind of like sacudirlo and do something to it. But malls are dying anyway, so
I think Mall of the Americas could probably outlive other malls because it has a very specific clientele.
eso estaba repleto.
I mean, have you seen the driver's license there?
El parqueo ahí estaba repleto.
Yes, because it actually a lot of people go there.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the driver's license is because whenever even people in my office are like, "Oh, tengo que renovar la licencia, voy a ir a Mall of Americas," I'm like, you do know there's about 50 other places you could do it
Closer.
closer, and you can make an appointment and you will not do line. Somehow people go there, and it's one of those things that like I feel like when we were kids, like there were certain things our parents did that would take all day.
Yeah.
All day. I remember cuando my parents iban a sacar la chapa, they would always go to Miller and 137th. Prepárate.
But why so far?
Miller and 137th. We live practically on 117th.
Oh, that's true. I'm thinking from my house.
Miller and 137th. I remember que eso era el día entero para sacar la chapa porque había tremenda línea y la cola and all this bullshit. The other day, or like 2 months ago, I went in because I wanted the Heat license plate. I was in and out in 10 minutes.
Oh, it's crazy. Like I think we're just more motorized now. Automated.
I don't know, but just, I mean, obviously technology.
Yeah, it
yes,
helps,
that
yeah.
little thing,
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
But I remember it was so like chaotic. Like, tengo que renovar la licencia.
You had to like put a day aside for it.
Tengo que sacar el pasaporte.
Pasaporte.
El pasaporte.
I remember being a kid having to go get the passport. That was a day.
I remember.
Entre la foto, go downtown, go through the whole spiel.
And back
now
in
when I
the
had to
day,
renew it, I went ahí en la
and
Zoom.
back in the day, not everywhere they used to take passport pictures. Like
No.
now, everywhere you had to go to like a certain place que tomaban la foto de pasaporte.
We went to a photographer.
Yeah, so did we. When I got my first
Yeah,
my
a
first one
photographer.
in the Gables, I remember because we did it in the post office. And in like the late 80s, early 90s, you know, everybody in my family became a citizen, so I was like their tutor. I've been practicing those naturalization questions since I was like, I think I could read.
You can
I
give the
think
test.
I learned how to read reading
that
the
test.
natural. I would always tell my mom, what is the Bill of Rights? The first thing amendments of the Constitution. Perfect. Mom, what ship did the Pilgrims come in? El Mayflower. Great. Pero antes, para sacar la ciudadanía, you had to go to the immigration building and like Biscayne, you know.
Oh no, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, do you know what building I'm talking about?
I mean, not personally because I never had to go.
Yeah, it's like Biscayne por arriba. It's not the immigration building anymore. My God, life was so complicated back then.
Oh no, I'm thinking of my grandparents studying for the immigration test, for the citizenship test, because they took it ya cuando lo hacían en español.
Ellos esperaron que lo hacían en español. No, my parents had to take it in English.
And I remember one day, because obviously we used to stay at my grandparents' house over the summer or whatever, and one night, you know, I could hear them talking or whatever, and because I would sleep in the room next to theirs, and I could hear them entre ellos dos, like repasando las preguntas. Like,
I'll
going back
never
and forth.
forget that when my mom and my aunt took them. My aunt is, I'm just gonna say it, the smarter one, and my aunt was like. My aunt knew all the questions, like bam, bam,
Right.
bam, bam, bam. My mom was the one that was like, I don't know. Like, you know which one like would always confuse people? Like the difference between the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Well, I mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the curveball.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, "Tú eras muchacho, yo no sé nada." And when they took it together, of course, because why wouldn't they? And my aunt was the one that failed,
wrong?
and my mom passed.
Really?
Yeah. Because my mom, I'll never forget, my mom came out, and listeners, I'm sure you all have your citizenship with like your parents, the stories. My mom was like, ay, quien me hizo la entrevista a mí era bien nice. Mira, nada más me preguntó quién era el primer presidente de los colores de la bandera y que se celebra el 4 de julio. Mientras my aunt was like, who is your senator?
She had to do a dissertation.
Who is your senator?
Coño, oye, pero come on.
What is bicameral? Just...
I mean, no, hold on. There are people who were born here that don't know any of that shit. Come on.
What is bicameral?
Jiminy Christmas.
And my mom's like, oh, eso fue bien fácil.
Y tu tía estaba que la petó un rayo.
Oh my God, but that was eso era tremendo show. Like, oye, ya fulana ya puede tomar la ciudadanía en español.
Yeah. That's what my grandparents did.
Not even Adela and Antonio were able to take it in Spanish.
That's true.
Because back then they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Okay, I saw a meme about this today. I say we started here.
Okay, done.
I saw it on a
I don't
meme,
even know
so
what you're about
I
to tell
wasn't
me,
the
but
person to
sure.
create it. We need to make a petition with WLRN
Okay.
and Netflix to bring Que Pasa USA to Netflix. Okay, this is all that I think about.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm on board, but
okay,
you know the
okay.
problem there is, right?
What?
That nobody knows who actually has the rights to that show.
Okay. I think we need to find it
That's the problem.
because if Que Pasa USA were to get on like Netflix or a streaming service
And be like the top
you
one.
do know that there will be a campaign in Dade County to get it to number one. Can you imagine if Que Pasa USA is the number one streaming show on Netflix?
In the world. In the world.
That would be amazing.
That would be great. You know what? We should look into it. Again, the problem with that is that nobody, because they talked about this when they did the stage show,
Yeah.
that they're like, nobody, because it was a government funded thing, nobody knows who has the rights.
Well, then just put it on and figure it out later. Until you get sued, put it until you get sued.
What's
When
the
you
worst
get
that can
sued-
happen?
When you get the cease and desist
Then
letter,
you pull it.
You cease and
Then
desist.
you- that's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
Done. Mejor pedir perdón que permiso.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be amazing?
You know what?
Amazing.
I'll call Luis
Like
Santeiro and see what we
log
can
into
do.
Netflix, and you know how they always have like the image.
And like the new arrivals.
Yes, and like the whole full screen image is of like
Just
them.
of the peñas.
Yeah, the peñas. You know, the pilot episode, the like, quinceañera and all that.
I'll talk to Luis about it.
Yeah, to our friend
Well,
Luis.
to
Yeah,
our friend Luis
yeah.
Santeiro. Yeah, we'll see. Again, I don't know who has those rights, so that's the bigger problem.
Okay, we need to start something. It's said here first. Listeners, this is the power of having a platform.
This is the power
We
of
have
having
a
a platform.
Let's get Que Pasa USA on a streaming service.
Yep.
And I want it on Netflix because it has a top 10.
True. Yeah. Otherwise,
Because if it was on Prime,
I
yeah,
don't want it
who
on
knows?
Peacock.
Or on Peacock. I'm still not sure how to get Peacock.
Maybe we don't. Maybe it doesn't really exist. Well,
All this talk has made us thirsty.
it's true. Ya es hora de tomar.
Tomar.
Una soda.
Viste quién who's going to have a new line of spirits, if you will?
Oh.
Mariah Carey.
Really? She's doing wine?
She's doing Irish cream, and it's called Black Irish.
Irish cream? I guess it makes sense. I would have thought she would have done champagne.
No, well, she is Irish.
No, I know. And she's
it's
black.
called
Yeah,
Irish.
Black Irish. I mean,
And
no,
it's coming
cute.
in 3 flavors.
Oh,
Salted
okay.
caramel, raspberry vanilla, I think,
And
then
lamb.
original.
Oh.
Lamb?
See,
Oh.
it should have been lamb, honey.
I mean, guess who's going to buy some?
This is the only time you're going to actively go buy liquor for yourself.
Yes. Well, everybody likes Irish cream
I didn't say it was bad. I'm just
on
saying.
ice cream.
On ice cream? Okay, you don't drink coffee.
Anyway, okay, so soda time. I'm going to give a flat soda,
soda.
a gasless soda.
Oh.
This is no surprise. I think we made it very clear in 170 episodes that people on Twitter suck. And we're both on Twitter.
I
but
call
just
it a cesspool of humanity, yes.
Twitter brings out the worst in people. And
Absolutely.
not only does it bring out the worst in people, it's like where people go to flex their muscle and show how
Right.
bad you are. Specifically, I'm giving the flat soda to all the people who have given, because I've been reading about this all throughout the week, have been giving Lizzo such a hard time.
Oh yeah, what's that about?
Some new video she had, and she's been getting.
The song's kind of meh, but
whatever. You know what? Let me tell you something about.
but they're not attacking her song.
I think Lizzo. Truth be told, I'm not a huge fan of her songs. She hasn't had a single song.
It just hasn't resonated with
that
me.
I've been like, oh my god, I love this song. But she is, however, somebody that just has such great energy, and she's so positive that even if you don't care for her, like a song in specific, she's just great to watch. I love watching her.
Yeah.
I love when she plays
her flute.
Sasha Fierce. You know that's the name of her flute.
Oh, that's the her flute.
You didn't know it was called Sasha
No,
Fierce?
I didn't.
Oh my god. She's just so full of like good energy.
Yeah, she definitely puts it
and
out.
you know, good for her for being a full-figured, you know, woman and just not caring and like going out there and being
Living her
herself.
life, yeah.
It's like, why do you want to bring that down? Like
Because
why?
people are horrible.
Como dice Sheryl Crow, you don't bring me anything but down.
Oh, she hasn't won a Grammy in a while.
Right, but for a while there, it was all that she wanted.
I'm pretty sure she won some years that she didn't even release anything.
So you know what? Twitter people.
Yeah, leave Lizzo alone.
Yeah, leave Lizzo. Hashtag leave
Leave
Lizzo
Lizzo
alone.
alone.
And bring Que Pasa USA to streaming.
Yeah, we have so many things that we're going to focus on.
Yeah.
So, my last soda, I'll keep it short and sweet. My last soda actually goes to an organization, local organization, the Cuban Freedom March.
Oh, yes.
They
of course.
recently, so they're based out of Miami, but they also have organized marches all across the country. And they recently had a panel discussion with several people, representative of the entire Cuban American diaspora, and actually in Cuba as well. They had someone connected. I forget his name now. Either way, I want to give them a soda because it's definitely they're keeping the voice alive, as it were. And if you happen to be in Miami on Sunday, August 22nd, there is a Cuban Freedom March happening in Miami that is going from La Ermita de la Caridad to Domino Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I won't be here on this Sunday, the 22nd of August, but if you are, I think it'd be great to just kind of, swing by and do the march.
Well, we hope everybody listened, laughed, and learned. That was a episode had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you definitely learned.
Yes. And remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta. Why am I having a trouble
Why
today?
are you?
Your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us this week. Have everybody a great weekend.
Yes, cuídense mi gente. Hashtag SOS Cuba.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.
All right, so we are here with one of my favorite little people, Tristan. What's up, bud? How you doing?
Good.
Everything's good?
Yeah.
Cool. So earlier I was talking to your dad, and he told me you guys went to the Olive Garden this past weekend.
That was yesterday.
Well, yeah, that's this past weekend, isn't it? So, okay. I friggin' love the Olive Garden. What is it that you love at the Olive Garden? Like, what's your favorite dish at the Olive Garden?
Ravioli. Those kids ravioli thing.
Oh, but only the kids.
They're big, but yes, I love them.
And what does it have cheese inside of it, or is it like?
Yeah, it has cheese inside of it, and either Alfredo sauce or another sauce on top of it.
But which is your favorite sauce?
Alfredo.
Alfredo.
I
You don't like the red sauce?
not really.
No, how come?
I hate almost all red sauces. The only one I don't hate is ketchup.
Oh, well, I get it. Most red sauces are communist. So, all right. Do you or do you not like the breadsticks?
What
And-
breadsticks?
At Olive Garden. What do you mean, what breadsticks?
You ate a whole bunch
They
of
have
them
the
yesterday.
best breadsticks.
Oh. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because if you had said no, we couldn't be friends anymore.
What?
If you had said no, we couldn't be friends anymore.
Why?
Because I don't want to be friends with somebody who doesn't like the breadsticks at Olive Garden.
Why? They're just breadsticks.
But they're so good. So they're good.
So it's different people's opinions.
Opinions, schmaminions.
Opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one.
And some people's smell really bad.
Oh, you know what else he likes from the Olive Garden is the smoothie.
Wait, they have smoothies at the Olive Garden?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Wait,
Wait, how long?
The only one I drink is strawberry and banana.
Ooh, oh, you know what? You almost said that like one of the Minions. Banana.
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 Okay, I don't even watch that, so please.
You never seen the Minions?
No, I hate them.
But if you've never seen them, how can you hate them?
I hate them. Well, I can notice by the thumbnail that they're like for babies.
The Minions aren't for babies.
They're not for babies.
There's even a ride in Universal Studios for adults of the Minions.
Yeah. See, you got to experience things before you make an opinion, sir.
Well, they just look like they're for babies.
They're friggin'
And
hilarious.
also, for like 2 weeks, I've been learning how to snap.
Oh, nice. You got a good
2 or 3
snap
weeks.
going. Now with both hands or just the one?
Just this one.
Just that one? Try it with the other one. Okay, try it again. Okay, you're getting there. You're getting there. For the longest time, I could only snap with my right hand also, and now I can do both. This sounds like a beat poetry podcast now.
Okay.
Did you say beat?
Beat poetry.
Is it the beat or the beat of my
Aw. For some reason, that made me think of Weakness of the Body.
Yeah, I got it.
Did
Aw.
you hear me? I just said Among
Oh,
Us.
Oh, so wait, that's right. You really like Among Us. We played it the other day, didn't we?
Oh, I had to sneeze.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead. No, it's okay. Bless you. That was a very controlled sneeze.
You're sus.
Okay, Sussy Baka.
You're sus.
Sussy Baka.
What does that mean?
Do you know what my screen name is always when I play Among Us with him?
What?
Mr. Cheese.
Why Mr. Cheese?
My name is Mr. Cheese.
I think he got it from like this cartoon they made of Among Us.
Okay.
And the character is Mr. Cheese.
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Which he didn't tell me, and he always wanted me to be orange. And then I realized that it's because it's the one from the cartoon.
Ah.
No. Almost every single Mr. Cheese is in Among Us games as well. Orange.
Right. But I go along with it. I like the name Mr. Cheese.
So wait, so what name do you get? Do you use on
I
Among
don't
Us?
change my names.
But what is it? What are some of them?
I know what they are.
Ah.
Amongst Us.
No. I forgot it. So hold on. That's also Mr. Cheese. Dun, 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 dun,
So wait,
dun,
but wait, which is yours? Which is your name on Among Us? Well, you're just showing it to me. It's not a visual medium, dude. You got to talk.
Nope.
Okay, so this concludes Tristan's Corner on
Yes.
this 170th
This
episode.
is a real one. Dun, 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 dun.
Sussy Baka with the cheese on his head.
Sasibaka. So yes, I play Among Us
Hey,
with
I'm so with them.
I play Among Us with him.
Yep. Well, we played a couple days ago.
Yeah. So it's fun.
It's a cool game.
It's what the kids are doing.
Look at us being hip and happening.
Yes. So anyway, well, thank you for the bonus episode.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Tristan. We look forward to you in 10 more eps.
You know what this is? B-side.
Oh.
This is a song about summertime. No?
Wait.
And
This
this
song
feeling
now
goes
you-
on and on and on.
I'll show my real one now.
So while he
All right.
shows his line, bye everyone.
Bye.
Again.